Hello, I'm Pastor Aaron, and this is Redeemer Lutheran's Midweek Devotion. Thank you for tuning in and listening. Have you ever wanted or looked at what other people are doing? Let's say on a Sunday morning, you're saying, oh, those people out there are having so much fun. I want to be with them. Worship isn't so much fun. I'd rather be out there. Or maybe you look at the lives that some of the unbelieving friends that you have are, quote unquote, enjoying, and you think, well, that would be more fun. Well, it's no newsflash. Sin always looks fun. It's not till afterwards that you realize it really wasn't that much fun. My dad used to tell me this when I was learning to play golf. He said, everybody in the rough, in the long grass and in the woods, is certainly getting a lot more swings in, and it may look like they're having fun over there. He said, but the fact is they'd all rather be playing from the fairway and having a much lower score, because in the end, that's fun. Winning is fun. St. Paul, in his second letter to the Corinthians, is telling us this very thing when he says, don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Doesn't mean you don't have unbelieving friends. Of course, we want to spread the gospel to people who don't know Jesus. But he says, don't be yoked to them. Don't join yourselves with them, and don't join in their ungodly practices. And if that's skipping work, whether that's getting drunk, whether that's joining them in their lusts and sinful passions because it looks like fun, Paul says you can't do that. Christians don't do that, in fact. And why not? He said because you can't take what's inside of you as a Christian and join it with what is false and untrue and with what God hates. And what is that you are? It's very interesting now what Paul says. He says, what agreement is there between the temple of God and idols? You might think, temple of God? I thought we were talking about me, huh? Well, he says, for we are the temple of the living God. Just as God has said, I will live with them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they will be my people. And Paul goes on to quote, and that's why we can't be joined together with idol and unbelieving practices. And so he calls us out. He calls us to be whom God has made us. That's really special, isn't it? That God loved you so much that in the person of his Son Jesus, he came to live here with you. And loved you so much that he was willing to be cloaked in your sins and in your guilt and in your shame and embarrassment, and to suffer his own punishment for those crimes against him. He was willing to die. And why? So that you might live. So that you might be cleansed in the waters of baptism. So that you might be his own. Did you catch that? You are God's temple. God calls you his own. Everything that God has or is, he shares with you. Incredible, isn't it? So, who you are now, and everything you have, belongs to God, doesn't it? And that's why I can't take that and join it with sinful practices. No, I've been called to be a temple, a place where God graciously lives. And through that wonderful message of love and forgiveness, he continues to strengthen me to say no to sin and temptation so that I can live and be his temple. Remember that this week. As you struggle against sin, remember you are the temple of the living God who loves you. Have a great week.